Welcome, my beautiful souls, and welcome, my gorgeous psychic Pisces. This is going to be your August 2025 reading. Looking at my screen, I'm like, this got like a yellow undertone. It's weird. But anyways, this is going to be for Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Definitely those intuitively guided. And if you're here checking up on a Pisces, just be open to receiving messages for yourself. We read through our spirit guides, so they know you'll be here. They may have even nudged you here. Um, can I say, Pisces, I feel like this is going to be a fantastic month for you. I feel like luck is on your side, like whatever you touch turns to gold. I feel like your intuition is going to be on fire. So trust it because who knows where it's guiding you? Well, we'll find out. But yeah, like I feel like this may be one of your best months. I was going to say your best month, but this is probably just the beginning of the rest of your life. So anyways, we are doing opposite signs again. So I already did Virgo, which is your opposite. And the reason why I do that for anyone who's new is I feel like it's a great idea to know your opposite sign because sometimes that could be the energy that we're lacking. I'm a Virgo, so I know I could use, Pisces, empathy and compassion, all of that, like all you possess. So this is why I do opposites. And I'm using the same decks that I used in Virgos, except they are all pre-shuffled. I spent a lot of time shuffling. This is when I'm really going into a meditative state, trying to get well, not trying, but like allowing any words that want to come to me that I feel are going to be part of your reading. So I just got like hang on to your hat type of energy. So let's go ahead and get into it. We will give Mother Mary the honor of opening up our reading. We're going to use the crystal vision to clarify and go deeper. And for the main spread, we're going to use the Tarot of Dreams, Death card on top. Transformation. We shall see. And then we will use the major arcanas following Mother Mary. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the lid down. And let's go ahead and open up the tarot portion. Shout out to Sam's son, whose birthday is February 26th. He's a very creative soul, like many of you. Okay. Mother Mary, words of wisdom. Well, you got a few words of wisdom. Let's start with what's right in front of me. We have Jesus. I pray for Jesus's help and guidance with this situation. It's like he's pointing up, right to the top. Interesting. Present moment. This is like judgment. I am fully present in the here and now. And I feel like there's a reason, and I feel like this is calling you to the here and now. So, like what was, what will be, like just how we saw the death card also, like transformation. But I feel like this is also a great sign of guidance. So trust that intuition. Home. I trust and follow my divine guidance about my home. And then last but not least, gratitude. Gratitude. As I notice and appreciate my blessings, I open the door to more of God's gifts. I have to appreciate what I have, even if it's tiny, and I definitely believe that, gratitude, I definitely believe opens the door. I just do. I feel like you're definitely being guided right now. Some of you're getting, or you will have some answers. Well, I feel like you all have answers, but I feel like there's a few that are searching for one particular answer, and I feel like you're going to find it. All right, I'm not going to keep all these out just because there's so many, but we won't forget them. All right, let's bring in the major arcanas. I just realized I should have done my nails, but too late. Um, Anyone who's new, we use these like bullet points. And many times they tell their own beautiful little messages. The Hierophant, card of Taurus, Star. Wow. Card of Aquarius. This is about your hopes, your dreams, your wishes. Justice. That's about balance. And okay. And then the Chariot. It's interesting because I get this feeling. We're gonna slide these up, but I get this feeling that it just feels like there might be something coming between you and a potential of something you want to do, whether that be moving. I'm looking at the Chariot and I'm thinking, well, that could certainly be movement. It's mirroring the Hierophant. Hierophant definitely wants you to question your belief system, your morals. Really what it's asking is, am I living the type of life that maybe I'm proud of? But I often feel the Hierophant is about to give a blessing. And it's interesting because it moves right into the star. Again, your hopes, your dreams, your wishes. Remember, the star needs your action to manifest these. And then we move into justice, which is about balance. So often when justice shows up, it can represent something that's like unbalanced. And again, it just feels like there's something that may be becoming between that may be coming between you and possible dream. But I feel like this dream can be manifested. Like, dreams, yes, wishes, yes, but this is about manifesting them. And the Chariot, it's interesting because the Chariot needs balance, and justice gives balance. Now, justice gives balance by using the sword of justice. And that just means cutting ties to, listen, just what's not serving you any longer. It can be a person, it can be a situation, it can be energy. Justice is about making you whole again. But there may there may be some human action needed to bring that about. Then it's like then the dreams and the wishes start, and the Chariot is unlimited potential. Remember, in the Chariot, it's your intentions to tell this Chariot where to go. And I feel like some of you already know, like, I know where I want this Chariot to go. Okay, and it doesn't have to mean a physical move. Let's say it's relating to like money, and you put your time and effort in something that still is a dream, then it's telling you that the only limit would be what our human mind puts upon it. Our spiritual being is like, baby, there is no limit. All right. I tried to pick it up. I tried. Well, hello world. Hello next chapter. And look what's right in between the portal. It's the Fool. So, the Fool, and again, this ties back to Mother Mary's message about being in the present moment. Well, that's what the Fool is in the present moment. The Fool does seek adventure. Um, and the Fool's willingness to take a leap of faith. And sometimes it's on, like a leap of faith within, well, I was going to say within your life, but of course it's within your life. But the Fool also doesn't carry past energy. No anger, no regret. Why? Because I've worked that out. And this is what this year is all about, working it out, figuring it out, breaking it down, understanding it at the core level. So the world's a very good omen, I feel, right now, because this is talking about your next chapter. It's following the Chariot. It's got the Fool in the middle. So there's something you may be taking a leap of faith in. But again, I have a feeling it's something you have wished for anyway. We have the Queen of Cups. This is probably you. Can be another Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. Well, some people say, like, how do I know? Well, you should feel it, because these readings are really energy readings, and you should feel it. And another thing about these readings, the reason why they're long is I'm letting your life unfold in front of me. This is your story that I'm telling, and the messages are going to relate to people in their way. So, anyways, this queen, she's holding a cup in her hand. She's looking towards the future. She's following the world. So it's like when this next chapter opens, she's already holding that cup. Interesting. And that cup it can represent love, but it can represent anything of an emotional nature. But again, if it's, let's say it's a business project, it'd be something that you loved. It'd be something that you'd be willing to put in the effort. But let's see. Let's keep going. We have the Three of Cups. So this is joy, the energy of joy. But the meaning of the card is rejoicing in celebration. Something's about to happen. Interesting. We have the King of Cups. But then look at this. We have justice. Wow. We have two justices now. Interesting how justice is mirroring the world, but yet we have the King and the Queen of Cups, and they're both looking towards the future. But why am I feeling a little leery? I don't know. Let's keep going. Let's see what comes underneath them. We have Temperance, which is kind of beautiful coming under the world. Temperance's first message is patience. But it's also about trusting in divine timing. Interesting though, because divine timing must be very soon with the Fool right there. It's also, when you see Temperance, it's a reminder of letting go of the things that you cannot control and put it in divine's hands and then trust the divine will take care of it. So if I can't control it, I'm not going to carry it around because it won't do you any good. All it does is it adds, I don't know, confusion to the mix. I'm looking at this Queen and King and I'm like, are they divorcing? Are they separating? Or have each of them gone through similar situations? And are they actually coming together? We have the Queen of Swords, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. It is mirroring Aquarius's energy, though well, some of you may not know, but I give you the signs, but then I don't think about the sign. I think about their energy because the Queen of Swords is probably you. And the Queen of Swords to me is about integrity, truth, speaking one's truth. You know, she has a mask on, but her eyes are wide open. So it's like she's taken off that mask, really. Some type of truth may have come to you. And then we have the Page of Pentacles. Oh, wow, look how dark my screen just went. Interesting. Saying interesting because I feel like for a few of you, this page may be a child. Someone may be uttering those words like, congratulations, you're becoming a dad, or congratulations, you're becoming a mom. The Page of Pentacles also is about learning. It's a path of knowledge. Like I often feel this page chose this path, right? I want to learn as much as I can. And yeah, it's earthly things, but also spirituality and putting the two together. Let's remember, divine is opening up this line, and the world is opening up this line, both beautiful energies. All right. Holy cow. We have the moon. So there's your major arcana. Also, Cancer's a ruler. I was not going to take this many cards, but what am I going to do? We have the Strength card. The first thing, not the first thing I want to say, but I want to say that I feel like there's an opportunity for some relationships through communication to be saved. Now, I feel like that's like, 20% that are here. But it does feel like, through communication, through truth, honesty, right? Like laying our cards on the table, I feel like there's an opportunity for an existing relationship to heal. All right, well, let's keep going. We have the Queen of Wands. We're getting a lot of queens. Queen of Wands can be Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, right under Sag. We have the Five of Pentacles. We have, oh my God, every queen out. Now we have the Queen of Pentacles with the Page of Pentacles above her. We have the Six of Cups. Someone that I used to know. And then last but not least, the Four of Swords. That's kind of beautiful. Especially because it's coming under the Strength card. And the Strength card is each, like, who's ever on the table here, it's their inner beings. It's their inner beast. It's what we all have to do. Like, I feel like through the Strength card is really where we're learning who we are, all parts of ourselves. Like how I felt earlier, like, is there something coming between you and a dream or dreams? And it's interesting, the Strength card is mirroring Temperance. So that may be part of it. But how beautiful that we have healing here. Okay, so let's go back for a second. I have the Queen of Pentacles looking right at the Five of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles usually speaks about something that's happened outside of our control. Remember I said earlier where divine is saying, like, if it's out of your control, hand it over to me? Well, that's what I feel like is happening. And it's interesting because though I do feel like there are, let's say 20%, um, where I feel like relationships can be healed, with, again, I mean, both have to want it. Let's just, that's got to be clear, right? Both have to want it. This is like, I'm not feeling this is where I'm trying to talk someone into staying with me, even though I know that they don't feel the same way, no, that's not what I'm feeling. I'm feeling that it's two people who are in love, but life, who knows, the Three of Cups can be someone who's maybe drinking a lot. And that could be what the Strength card's talking about. That's what I had to tame. Especially if some are finding out they're becoming parents. It's like, oh, I got to change my ways. Now, moving on from that, I feel like this queen, which I still feel is you, just different situations. So I feel like this Five of Pentacles talks about a tower, because that's normally what it is. Again, something outside of our control. But oftentimes we don't have the luxury in the Five of Pentacles of, like in the Five of Cups, we're kind of, focusing on our loss, not moving forward. But in the Five of Pentacles, I feel like I have to keep moving forward. So it could be like a loss of a job. And this is not something I'm predicting. It would have already happened. She's looking at it, but I don't feel any fear here. It's almost like, okay, what do I do now? So I could see some of you, like, out of the blue, building something new. But I have to go back. I feel like it's pulling me right back to the star. Then we have the Six of Cups. Well, the Six of Cups talks about nostalgia. And it is interesting because in Virgo's reading, they also had similar energy. So I'm just going to put that out there and then get right back to you. Interesting also, Page of Cups, Queen of Cups, younger energy, current energy. Male or female, by the way. But it is this queen who I feel like had to go through, or I'm saying had, but did go through something not quite so easy. But then the healing. And the healing, I feel like, is for everything. So, we were talking about the Six of Cups nostalgia. Happy memories. I often feel like this is when we're thinking of our childhood, or someone special from our childhood. I'm saying childhood, I mean that probably up to the age of 20. I mean, you wouldn't call a 20-year-old a child, but you know what I mean. All right, let's see what's on the bottom of the deck. Hello, lovers. Hello, lovers. Card of Gemini. Meaning of the card is a head of a heart decision. But I want you to just take notice of this image. Because both these people are naked. That means both are free to be exactly who they are. Doesn't mean that either one of them are perfect, because no one is. But it is about the celebration of each other's individuality. It's also the energy of chemistry. Like, really undeniable. And I'm looking at the six, and I feel like it's tying back to the Six of Cups. Look at that. The star underneath it. So some of you, that's what you're wishing for. That's what you're wishing for. All right, let's bring in the crystal vision and let's go right over top since we have so many cards. And let's go deeper. Give them a cut. Anybody who's new, the reason why I cut every deck into a reading is really to introduce their energy into an existing reading. So I want this deck to correspond with these decks. All right, we have the Knight of Swords. Communication. It is coming in. It's coming over the world. So, potentially, this communication may change your life in some way. I feel like because this knight is on a white horse, then to me, that's a symbol of purity, like pure energy. And again, I'm looking at the lovers and how they're naked, right? They're comfortable within their own skin. Some of you, you're remembering someone, the other person in that lovers. And that ties back to that Six of Cups. Whoa. All right, it's like, boom, your cards wanted to come out. All right, Eight of Cups, or Eight of Swords, over the Queen of Cups. Also touching the Hierophant. We have the Unknown card. That's probably why we have the Eight of Swords. The Unknown card is the High Priestess. But this can certainly represent not trusting one's intuition. My crystal ball is cloudy. I can't see. And that makes sense because the Eight of Swords is a self-created prison. She literally has a blindfold on. No wonder she can't see. And remember, eights are always about a new beginning. But this person is in a self-created prison. We'll see why. Well, I have a feeling it has to do with the Five of Pentacles down here. Look at this. We have the King of Wands over the King of Cups. And then we have, interesting, the Nine of Swords over Justice. We have the Four of Cups over Temperance. And interesting because the Four of Cups talks about discontentment or boredom in one's emotional life. And in the Four of Cups, often you'll see a cup coming in. And that cup is coming from above. Let's just say from the hand of divine, because it's literally coming over divine's energy. But the meaning of the card is about learning to use your spiritual discernment. So as this cup comes towards you, use your intuition. Or as this communication comes in, all right, let's keep going. Six of Swords, that makes me happy because it's coming under the Eight of Swords, but we'll come back. Interesting, Three of Cups under the Three of Cups over the page, and then the Knight of Wands. So we have two knights, and interesting, we have this Knight of Wands under the King of Wands, where we have this page connected to this queen. Some of you, I feel like there's someone back in the day, and they may be a hair older than you. Doesn't have to be the case, but I feel like for some, it's a little bit of a clue. Like they may be just like maybe you went to school together, but they were a grade ahead. I also want to say that I feel like someone is giving someone an ultimation, an ultimate. Why am I not saying that word right? And I feel like the one who's saying it is, it feels like the queen is saying it to the king. Of course, it can certainly be the other way around. But I feel like this queen has had some realization that something has been toxic. And this is what created this prison. But I love the Six of Swords under that because it's the realization of that. And then it moves into the Three of Cups again. Number one, I feel like celebrate any moves that you make that, okay, so let me back up for a second. So Six of Swords, it's about moving on. But it is the realization, first and foremost, about what's been toxic in your life. And just how I said, I felt like something was coming in between you and your dreams. Well, now the Eight of Swords is kind of touching that. But I feel like it could be just the fear of the unknown. That's why you want to use your intuition. But let's go back for a second, because I feel like this queen may be saying to this king, like we got to grow up. Um, you know, like we can't keep acting like teenagers. But I feel it in a sense of what someone is doing. Like again, I'm just going to say drinking. Maybe I enjoyed it back in the day right along with someone else. But then the day came where I realized that if I didn't get my shit together, then I was never going to manifest, some goals that I had. So you may have walked away and may not have wanted to, but realized that it's what you had to do at that time. And it's interesting because I may be speaking to the lovers and the Six of Cups and why they broke up. But now it feels like Well, it kind of feels like they're coming back in. There's some type of passion coming towards you. And it really is undeniable. I mean, when the Knight of Wands comes in, it comes in fast. It comes in roaring. It's full of passion, adventure. In the Eight of Swords, there's no way you would have been like, oh, yeah, I want to go on this adventure. Eight of Swords, I'm kind of like hiding myself away. And even the Nine of Swords, worry, worry. But it is about unnecessary worry. That is the meaning of the card. But I have to say, because the Eight of Cups went to the Nine of Cups, I feel like that's a sign for you to understand that when we create these prisons, it means that you're just not trusting your intuition. It's showing us that. And I have to say that if you're worried that someone has or is going to cut ties with you, well, okay, let me put it a different way because I feel like you're on your way to having true emotional clarity, but also mental clarity, which I feel like is so important. All right, let's keep going. We'll come back if we need to. You know, you might get communication that you completely unexpect, and it may just throw you for a loop, but maybe just for a moment. You know, it is showing some in not a happy emotional state, but I feel like this is the ability to change that if that's what you are, or let's say those are the intentions you're putting out there. We have the Seven of Wands, standing your ground over the Strength card. Hmm. First of all, it's a lot of fire. And you can certainly talk about the way. Okay, let me just put it this way. I feel like as you yourself evolve and as you yourself really start to trust your intuition, and I know a lot of you already are, but that doesn't mean like when something shows up, even if we're living a spiritual life, it can still throw you for a loop. And I feel like this communication is going to throw you for a loop. This communication coming in. Um, but hopefully just for a moment. And all of a sudden, I'm feeling where there may be some of you that is connected to another, but you don't have an interest of working it out. You know what I mean? Like it ran its course. And in a way, I feel like that's opening the door to what is next. You know, I just get the sense that there's some of you at home connected to another who is not treating you the way that you should be treated, the way that you deserve to be treated. Because I feel like it's you who doesn't have this emotional fulfillment. And Divine knows that. That's why it's coming over Divine's energy. And what I was going to say is you make a communication before one thing is completely like again, okay, so I'm connected to another, but it's not going well. And I'm not talking about those that I felt earlier where I feel like a marriage or a serious commitment can be saved because I do feel that. This, on the other hand, is the opposite of that. This is where someone is not willing to change, is not willing to be part of what needs to be to have a good relationship. Kind of like they want to they want their cake and they want to eat it too. And I wouldn't be surprised if your phone rang or you got a text or a message from someone back in the day. And yes, it can be also past lives. But if that's the case, then we know this is soulmate energy. Okay, so let's keep going. Queen of Wands is our queen of action. She follows her desires and her passions. Look at that. Five of Pentacles over her. Five of Pentacles right next to her. Yet it's interesting because I get this feeling that this queen, which I still feel is you, I just feel like you're at different stages. I feel like this queen, when this communication comes in, it's movement time. I feel like this queen, if I'm connected to another, it's like I'm giving them the tower. I'm saying it's over. But listen, you're not saying it's over just because it's over. I feel like, again, you're not being treated in the way you should be. You don't have that emotional fulfillment. That doesn't mean that someone can't give it to you. Maybe, this connection has now come to completion. Remember how we saw the death card? So something is coming to completion, and then the world literally is the next chapter. Jeez. Okay, got a few. Three of Pentacles over the Five of Pentacles. You know, someone just wasn't seeing your value. They weren't appreciating you for who you truly are. But I feel like there's someone else who absolutely does. Man, this is reminding me of Virgo's reading. And it's not the cards because they're all different. I mean, there's some alike, but they're really different. It's just the way it's reading. And I feel like if I'm having a conversation with someone where it's now over, that's exactly what I'm saying, if I'm saying anything at all. Because in the Three of Pentacles, there is someone admiring you. And this is also about your creativity. One of the best ways I feel like to get over anything is to move yourself into your creative mind. Why? Because it takes your focus off of, it's kind of getting lost within your creativity, which helps these swords up here kind of hopefully fade away. But again, I feel like I may be having that discussion of like, I tried, I gave you a lot of time, Things didn't change. It is showing us that the energy was toxic, and it is showing you speaking that. So this moving on, I literally feel some of you are moving on. But for some of you, this communication may come in first. All right. The Eight of Pentacles. The Empress. You know what? I knew the Empress needed to be out. And I'm so happy she's out. And why? Because all the queens are out. And the Empress, to me, is the energy of all the queens. Another way of saying that is she's gone through the experiences of all the queens. She's extracted the wisdom, but not carrying the energy of, like, woe is me, any of that. This is someone who is loving and nurturing, which you are. Creative, which you are. Powerful and strong. But it came. You became that way through these lessons. Some people will say, why did my life have to be so difficult? Well, I can say that also. I feel because we're strong souls. Because our souls came into this lifetime. Who knows? For some of us, this may be our last lifetime. And we want to extract as much wisdom as possible. Well, that's kind of what the Empress does. And let me tell you something. The Empress doesn't live in the Eight of Swords nor the Nine of Swords. So that would have had to been cleared up. But I also get this feeling of where someone didn't recognize your individuality as a positive thing. Well, there is someone else who is calling you their Empress. All right. Well, that's interesting. Judgment. Just interesting how they came out. Judgment, your spiritual team, calling you to the present moment, and look what's following the star. Judgment. I need your attention now. It is over the Four of Swords. So your spiritual team has been helping you heal whatever needs to be healed. And again, if we've just remembered that we're in the year of the Hermit, which is about reflecting, but then closing those doors. Because we're entering into the next chapter, which would be the year of the Magician. Wow, with the Star card here twice. And Judgment. And Divine. I mean, you have so much divine energy helping you. And for some of you, I feel like it is when you reclaim your power, yourself. You come back to you. That I feel like this opens up the door to love. But not just love. Because the Empress sitting next to the Eight of Pentacles, where the Eight of Pentacles is, it's a reminder that as it relates to, let's say, your money, the willingness to go into something as the apprentice with the knowing that one day, if I put my focus on it, I will be the master teacher. And I feel like there's talents that you have that you're either already using or they just might start opening up. Like you might start getting epiphanies and ideas out of the blue. And if you can't put them into action right now, what I would do is write them down. I do it all the time. Matter of fact, I have a book. It's just called my scratch pad. Because again, I actually wrote down ideas. Interesting. I didn't even know I wrote that. Because the reason why I'm saying that is there may be some things like the Empress. When you think of the Empress, think of the mother figure, right? The one who gives birth to the ideas, gives birth to whatever type of life that she really wants. But let's think about the Empress carrying a baby. She wants to carry it for that full 9 months, right? So she knows or she feels the perfect timing. Doesn't always mean that something's got to come to the table now, but the ideas will spark your intuition, which will spark whatever it is you want to do. And then love. Wow. I just feel like someone feels like you are their empress. We have two stars now. And I feel like that means two people, maybe unbeknownst to the other, maybe wishing or remembering. Like, I remember. I remember us. I remember us. Whether it was in now, when the Empress shows up, it can be many lifetimes. But I do feel like I do feel like this is soulmate energy. I just do. All right. I think what I want to do is I want to start with the Empress, and I want to look at her because she's sitting next to Judgment, who's coming over the healing energy. So it feels to me like many of these things have been healed and let go of, especially with the Six of Swords. I know what's toxic now, and I know what I no longer want in my life, and I know what I do want. And it doesn't even have to be, let's say he's talking about love, it doesn't have to be a person's name, but I know the type of love that I want. And the Empress is of a high vibration, not perfect, but of a high vibration. So whatever she manifests back will also be of a high vibration. And that's kind of why I feel like this healing energy, it's for you. It is for certain relationships, but I also feel like it's for the potential of what's coming in. And I actually want to look at that. Oh, I was going to look at the Empress. What am I doing? We'll look at the Empress, and then I'm going to go back and look at the Knight of Swords. I told you that Six of Cups was related to the Lovers, and here they are. Four of Pentacles. Some of you may be moving back home. That may be exactly what the Chariot is. Or someone's moving to where you're at. You know what else I love about this? Four of Pentacles to me feels like a very solid foundation. If it was in reverse, then I would say, just be careful you're not being too resistant to, let's say, outside ideas like divines. But this feels more about a foundation. Hello, lovers. Connected to the Empress. How beautiful. If anyone deserves it, the Empress does. So we cannot deny that. What was under the Lovers? The star. The star. There's the star. Right by the Lovers. All right, let's look at the Knight of Swords. I don't even know why. Because I feel like I get what this reading is saying. Oh my gosh. Look at this. The Six of Cups. the Nine of Cups, inner harmony, and fulfillment of wishes. Some of you are becoming single only to reconnect with someone, but not just anyone. Not just anyone. And then the Magician. Well, coming over the world's energy, which literally, to me, the world, I'm going to say 2026 because it is 2026, the year of the Magician. I don't feel like you're waiting until 2026. Well, let's put it this way. I feel like it's going to be up to you because these swords can certainly come in between me and my dreams. Or I just may be too fearful if I haven't broken things down. Remember the Empress, she knows who she is. All parts of her. She could have a bad temper, but she's learned how to control it. Doesn't mean always, though. Like, don't think of her as perfect, but think of her as someone who has gone through a lot, but has extracted the wisdom of those lessons. She's not in a woe is me type of energy. She's in a what's next type of energy. She's up for adventure. How interesting. And because we have justice here twice, it could certainly talk about two people who have recently become single. I mean, there's no way to deny what we're seeing. Six of Cups. I want to know who this knight is, who's bringing in communication. Six of Cups. We got to go right back to the Six of Cups. Now we have the Lovers with the Empress. How beautiful. And let me tell you, I don't feel like this came easy. I definitely feel like there was shit that you had to work out. I do feel like you had to look within. But boy, do I feel like it's serving you. And what I want to say also with Temperance, telling you with the Four of Cups coming over that, right? Where I could like feel pretty good in the rest of my life, but my emotional situation, maybe not so much. So Temperance is like, well, that's okay. Because I have the perfect cup for you. But it is in divine timing. I know a lot of people don't like that when I say divine timing, but it is in divine timing. Why? Because again, the Eight of Swords and the Knight of Swords, would you say yes? It reminds me of like Sam and I's, how we came back together. I had just broken up with someone I was with for 25 years. And I was only 2 weeks single when out of the blue, Sam called me. Now, if he would have called me when I was still with that person, I just would have been, I just can't cheat. I'm not a cheater. So I probably would have said, oh my God, it's so nice to hear from you, but I wouldn't have taken it any further. But because I was now single, well, we talked every single night for hours. Like, that's all we did for 5 years. 5 years before I finally made that ultimate move into his home, which is now our home. So I get it. And that's the only reason I tell you my experiences, because I understand what this is saying. All right. I feel like no sense of going any further with this. Let's go ahead and bring in the clarifying love situations. This is very loudly speaking. It's interesting because it all starts with the Hierophant's energy, your belief system, your truth, your morals. And if someone else doesn't have the same morals that you have, it'd be very hard to stay in a real connection, right? If our morals are completely different, and I'm talking about like my morals are when I'm in a relationship, I'm loyal. Well, their morals may be like, well, I'm in a relationship and I love you, and that's good enough. But it's not good enough. Love is not enough. Even that Eight of Pentacles down here can answer the question, how do I know that even this coming back together with all its beauty will be successful? Eight of Pentacles would say, if you focus on it, it will grow. And this isn't about moving something quickly unless you choose. Because again, the Fool's energy is in the present moment. Judgment is calling you to the present moment. They literally have a dream that they're holding on to for you. But they can't release it when the Nine of Swords is part of it. It's not part of it. And interesting, Nine of Swords is coming over justice. So some of you may be like, do I use the sword of justice? I'm worried about using the sword of justice. I don't know where it's going to take me. I don't know what's going to happen after. Well, that's the adventure of it. That's what the Empress would say. Instead of looking at it as, oh my God, I don't know what's next, look at it as in everything is possible. And yes, it may be a step by step type of thing. But then again, it may not be. All right. Pisces, what a reading. I knew your reading was going to be off the charts. I just knew it. Temporal bonds. In the realm of flighty bonds, true connections waver but endure. Wow. I have a feeling it's talking about down here. And let's see if anything else wants to come out. And I will bring out the romance angels. Okay, we've got quite a few. Fluttering heart. Your passion leads you to the love you desire. Look at that beauty. Your passion leads you to the love you desire. Envy's turmoil. Obsessed hearts and jealous minds brew a storm of unyielding chaos. I have a feeling that is talking about what was happening within a current relationship or an on again and off again relationship. And I feel like this fluttering heart is talking about down here. And then we have in a fog, fear, obligation, or guilt makes you stay. Get clarity. Get clarity. Fear, guilt, or obligation makes you stay. Get clarity. You have a lot of divine energy who wants to help give you the clarity. And I feel like this reading is part of your clarity. It is totally your choice. All right. Let's bring out the romance angels. I mean, it's funny. Every time I pull them out, I'm thinking, do we really need them? Because we have the lovers here twice. Some of you, this could be a twin flame. But if it is twin flame, then you already know that. Let me just say that. Because I don't feel like this is like searching for my twin flame. I don't feel like you search for a twin flame. Twin flame is either in your life in this lifetime or not in this lifetime. But you'll always be back together. And I mean that when we leave this world, when it's our time, free yourself and the rest will follow. It is time to take back control of your life. Free yourself. Get out of that Eight of Swords and that Nine of Swords. Get back into living and loving. And yeah, I know it's easier said than done. Interesting. Forgiving and learning, which I do feel like is such an important component to living a spiritual life. And I feel like forgiving is one of the hardest things to do. But it's not always about picking up a phone and telling someone, I forgive you. Because sometimes they may be for what? You forgive me for what? It's about forgiving within your own heart. It's just saying, I'm not willing to carry this old energy along for the ride any longer. So I forgive you and I move on. As you release and heal the past, you experience more love in your present moments. New love. New love. And that is our Knight of Swords for sure. A new person has stirred your romantic feelings. Now, certainly this can be new love. But I know for many, you already know this person. But again, it can be of a past life. But yet, at the same time, what I want to say is again, I'm thinking of Sam and I's story. We dated as teenagers, we were children, right? We got back together 40 years later. We were adults. We had to get to know each other again. So when it says new love, for some of you, it is new love. But for others, I definitely feel it's the lovers. I definitely feel it's the lovers. And how do I love the Nine of Swords or the Nine of Cups being here? Inner harmony and fulfillment of wishes. And we have the wish card everywhere. The wish card, so close to the lovers. The lovers, the wish card. The wish card. All right. I'm going to leave it there, guys. I feel like I just feel like it was so clear, but I would love to hear your comments, of course. I love it when you tell me how you relate to it. You certainly don't have to, and I know a lot of people don't like making comments, and I get that. But if you don't mind making a comment, I would love to hear how it relates to you. I do feel we have a few different stories going on here, so it's just finding yourself within it. Something will feel right. It'll resonate. Some of you may get goosebumps at certain times. I definitely feel like your guides somehow, some way, let you know that a reading is for you. Again, usually through feeling. You know, we are soul connected. So this is a soul to soul reading. I mean, hello, lovers. Hello. I loved it, Pisces, and I love you. I thank you. I'll see you guys next time at our table. Some of you might want to check out Virgo's reading. Some of you probably won't want to. But some of you might want to because there are similarities here. And it doesn't mean that you're connected to a Virgo, but you might pick up even more information, like maybe what the Pisces mind didn't want to hear. I don't know. You do whatever you want. Anyways, I love you guys. I loved your reading. I truly loved it. And I knew it was going to be life changing. I just knew it. And boy, does it feel like it. So, I'm going to let that be so I can get this uploaded and up to you or over to you. But again, I thank you. I thank you for the million ways you support my channel. I thank you for sharing the videos. I thank you for watching the ads. You know, watching the ads is one of the greatest ways of building a channel. But I, again, have chosen not to put ads in the reading. I do have it before and after, but not in the reading. I keep putting them in like every couple months, and then I'm thinking, well, I just hate how they interrupt the flow. So I took them back out again. But they are before and after. Anyways, just thank you in every way you help me. Just thank you for being part of my soul family. I love you guys. I thank you. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.